Hey, war is not just any time a country goes and kills people. That's right, welcome back to Deprogramming Propaganda. This is a series where I take a look at propaganda that specifically used to work on me and see if I can't get down to what is actually being said in hopes that it stops working on me and stops working on you as well. And you heard me right, just because a country's military is killing people does not mean a war is taking place. For context, let's take a look at the definition of war. War: a state of armed conflict between different nations or states, or different groups within a nation or state. This is effectively to say, it takes two to tango. In order for there to be a war, multiple sides needs to be taking military action against each other. And guess what? That is not happening in Gaza. Now, I know some of you will say, well, didn't Hamas attack Israel first on October 7th? Now, we're going to sidestep the information that suggests that not only did Netanyahu's government basically invite Hamas in to attack, but they used their own military against their own civilians to make the attack appear worse than it ever actually would have been in the first place. We're going to sidestep all of that for now, for this video. Let's say that October 7th constitutes purely one military force attacking another military force. Great. Sure. Then maybe there is some degree of back and forth, right? Hamas attacks Israel, and then Israel, according to international law, would be allowed some sort of proportional response back at Hamas specifically. And let's even pretend for the sake of argument, that every civilian target that they have been hitting has been a Hamas military base. Let's believe the propaganda for a half a second, just for the sake of argument. They aren't, and they have not been. But even if we were to listen to everything that Israel has been telling us, let's assume all of that is true. So on October 7th, Hamas attacks Israel, and then Israel attacks Hamas. And then they attack Hamas. And then they attack Hamas again. And they keep attacking Hamas, and they attack them every single day, killing thousands and thousands of people for over a month and a half. I have not seen any evidence that anyone in Gaza has been conducting a military operation against any Israeli forces for a month and a half. October the 7th was the last time we've heard any violence from Gaza heading to Israel, which sure as hell doesn't look like two sides fighting. It looks like one side who has been completely destroyed and completely dismantled, and the other side still killing all of their friends and family and neighbors and anyone who just lived near their enemy combatants. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people saying that Hamas just needs to surrender and all of this will end. But what would a surrender even look like at this point? How can they stop fighting? They haven't been fighting. We've seen no evidence of that. As far as we can tell, the only military equipment Israel has even found in all of Gaza amounts to 15 assault rifles. That could have easily been planted before reporters got in because they had access to the place 2 hours beforehand. And Israel wants us to believe that 15 guns and a calendar is a good enough reason to continue on to kill tens of thousands of people in Gaza. Which leads me to the entire reason why I'm making this video right now. The number of people I keep seeing in comments saying, well, what do you expect? That's just the price of war. Suggesting that we're being naive, thinking it's a tragedy that civilians are being killed. Because civilians often die in war. And while I will say it is sometimes understandable when collateral damage happens, that does not make civilian deaths not a tragedy. Even in the case when it is accidental, collateral damage is still something that needs to be taken responsibility for. Even in the best of circumstances, even in the most understandable of situations, when it was clearly an accident to have committed collateral damage and to have killed civilians, you still have to reckon with that. But this is not the best case scenario. Every single time a bomb is dropped, it is with the full knowledge that it is killing civilians. In fact, that has been the expressed intention from Israeli government officials before attacks happen. We have them on record. They're going on TV talking about how willing and able and excited they are and happy that they are killing civilians. Civilians who have not been fighting back. So we have millions of people who are penned up without food, without water, without medical attention, who aren't fighting back and don't really have the ability to, even if they wanted to, who are being slaughtered by a government's forces. That is not a war. That is the furthest thing from a war. This is a genocide. Full stop.